Last episode, you built a list of every possible subdomain a target has. But here's the problem, most of those names are dead. They don't point anywhere. A list of 10,000 guesses is useless until you know which ones are actually real. This episode is about resolution, taking that huge pile of candidate names and finding the ones that actually resolve to a live server, fast, and at massive scale. This is the step that turns a raw word list into a real map of the target. Let's make those names real. Quick bridge from last time. Enumeration produces candidates, resolution confirms them. You gathered names from certificate logs, brute force, and permutations, and now you might have 10, 20, even 100,000 possible subdomains. Resolution is the filter. It answers one question for every name. Does this actually exist? And if so, where does it point? Everything you attack later comes from the names that survive the step. Let's make sure DNS is clear, because this whole episode lives on it. DNS is the internet's phone book. You have a name like ap.target.com and DNS translates it into an IP address, the actual location of the server. That translation is called resolving. When you resolve a name, a resolver asks the target's name servers, hey, what's the address for this? If there's an answer, an A record, the name is live. If there's no answer, the name is dead. Resolution is just doing that lookup for every candidate you have. So why is this hard? You could resolve one name at a time with a simple command, but with 100,000 candidates, that would take hours or days and hammer normal DNS servers until you get blocked. You need to resolve tens of thousands of names per second spread across many DNS servers without breaking anything. That's a specialized job and it needs specialized tools. Meet the two that do it. First, the engine underneath everything, massdns. Massdns is a stupidly fast DNS resolver built for exactly this. You hand it a giant file of names and a list of DNS servers to use, and it fires off lookups in parallel, resolving 100,000 names in a couple of minutes. It's raw and fast. Most hunters don't run it directly, they use it through a friendlier wrapper, but massdns is the horsepower doing the actual resolving underneath. Speed is the whole point. On top of that sits the modern tool you'll actually live in, dnsx. dnsx takes your list of subdomains, resolves them at scale, and gives you back only the ones that are alive. But it does much more than yes or no. It can pull specific record types, follow CNAME chains, grab the IP addresses, and filter out the junk. One clean command, cat your subdomains, pipe into dnsx, and out comes a tidy list of live names, each with the address it points to. This is the tool that turns candidates into confirmed targets. Here's the part beginners skip, and it wrecks their results. Your resolver list. When you resolve at scale, you don't use one DNS server, you spread the load across many. But if you use random public resolvers, some are slow, some are broken, and some straight up lie, returning fake answers that poison your data. The fix is a curated list of trusted, fast, reliable resolvers, and you refresh it regularly. Good resolvers give you truth. Bad resolvers give you garbage that wastes hours. This one file quietly decides how accurate your entire recon is. And the trap we met last episode comes back here. Harder, Wildcard DNS. Some domains are configured so that every possible name resolves to the same IP on purpose. So your resolver happily confirms 10,000 subdomains that don't really exist, all pointing at one address. If you don't handle this, your beautiful live list is mostly fiction. The tools detect a wildcard by resolving a few random junk names first, seeing the odd return the same address, and then filtering anything that matches it. Always let your tool do wildcard filtering. Always. Resolution isn't only about A records. Different DNS record types each leak different intel, and pulling them is free recon. An A record gives you the IP version 4 address, quad A gives you version 6. A C name shows a name is an alias pointing at another name, which matters a lot in a second. MX records reveal the mail servers and often the email provider. TXT records are a goldmine of lead configuration, verification tokens, security policies, and sometimes internal domains. And NS records tell you who runs the DNS. Every record type is a different window into the target. Here's where a boring DNS record becomes a critical bug, the dangling CNAME. Remember, a CNAME points one name at another, often at a cloud service, like a storage bucket or a hosting platform. Now imagine the company deletes that cloud service, but forgets to remove the DNS record. The CNAME now points at nothing, at an unclaimed name that anyone can register. If you claim it, you now control what loads on their subdomain. That's a subdomain takeover, and it starts with one thing, spotting a CNAME that points somewhere abandoned. Resolution is how you find them. Let's put resolution into one clean flow. Take your massive subs.txt from last episode. Pipe it into dnsx, tell it to resolve, filter wildcards, and print each live name next to its IP address. What comes out the other side is gold, a deduplicated list of subdomains that are provably alive, each mapped to a real server. You just went from 100,000 guesses to a few hundred confirmed reachable hosts. That shortlist is your actual target surface, but a name resolving to an IP doesn't mean there's a website there. It might be a mail server, a database, or nothing listing on the web. So the final step is to probe those live names for actual web servers, and the tool is httpx, which we've met before. Feed it your resolved names and it tells you which ones answer over HTTP and HTTPS with their status, title, and technology. Resolved plus probed equals a live web target you can finally start testing. One powerful trick: once you have IP addresses, group by them. You'll often find 20 different subdomains all resolving to the same IP. That's one server hosting many sites, and if one is vulnerable, you may reach the others. Look wider, and clusters of IPs reveal the hosting providers and network ranges a company owns. Grouping resolved names by address turns a flag list into a map of the target's real infrastructure and shows you where the crown jewels are concentrated. Resolution also runs in reverse, and it finds things forward lookups miss. A reverse lookup, or PDR record, takes an IP address and asks, what name lives here? So once you know a company owns a block of IP addresses, you can sweep that entire range in reverse and discover host names that were never in any word list or certificate log. dnsx does this too. Forward resolution confirms your guesses. Reverse resolution hands you names you never guessed at all. And here's the rare jackpot: the zone transfer, or AXFR. A zone transfer is a feature where one DNS server hands its entire list of records to another, the whole map of every name in the domain, in one request. It's supposed to be locked down to trusted servers only. But every so often, a name server is misconfigured to allow it from anyone. When that happens, you ask, and it hands you the complete internal DNS zone, every subdomain, instantly. It's rare, but when it works, it's game over for enumeration. Always test for it. A word on being careful. Resolving at scale is powerful, but if you point 100,000 queries per second straight at a target's own name servers, you can knock them over, and that's both rude and out of scope. This is exactly why you resolve through your big list of public trusted resolvers instead of the target directly. Stay fast, but stay a good neighbor. Scale responsibly, and only within your authorized scope. Like everything in Recon, resolution isn't a one-time job. Names that were dead last week can go live tomorrow when the company spins up a new server. So you resolve your full candidate list on a schedule and diff the results. A name that just started resolving is a brand new host that nobody has looked at yet, including the company's own security team. Fresh live hosts are where fast, automated hunters consistently win. The mistakes that ruin resolution: 1. Using random public resolvers. They lie and poison your data. Use a trusted, curated list. 2. Ignoring wildcards and drowning in thousands of fake live hosts. Always filter them. 3. Only pulling A records and missing the CNAMEs, MX, and TXT that hand you takeovers and leaked config. And 4. Blasting the target's own name servers directly. Slow, rude, and out of scope. Resolve smart, and your target list is clean and real. Here's this matter: because resolution is the step that turns raw recon into a real attackable map. Anyone can generate 100,000 subdomain guesses. The hunter who correctly resolves them, filters the fakes, spots the dangling CNAMEs, and maps the live infrastructure is the one holding an accurate picture nobody else has. Enumeration is quantity. Resolution is truth. And truth is what you attack. Resolution turns candidate names into confirmed live hosts. Use massdns for speed and dnsx to resolve, filter, and pull record types. Feed it a trusted resolver list, and always filter wildcards. Watch for dangling CNAMEs, their subdomain takeovers. Group by IP to map infrastructure, sweep PTR records in reverse, and always test for a zone transfer. Then probe the survivors with httpx. Candidates become targets. Screenshot this. You now have a clean, confirmed list of live hosts on your target. Next episode, we go inside them, content discovery, using tools like FFUF, DOSearch, and Feroxbuster with the right word list to uncover the hidden pages, endpoints, and files each of those servers is trying to keep quiet. That's where the real attack surface opens up. Subscribe so you catch it, and tell me how many of your candidates actually resolved. See you in the next one.